Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have it douse, not what I'm about, have your f***ing cloud, it be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
Good morning! The question of the day is, what are you going to build today? The truth of the matter is that you and I are here. And as long as we're still alive, we have everything we need to actually make whatever it is we want to make happen. The fact that we've been given another day proves that we have choice, opportunity, we have resources. Let me do this for a moment. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. You ready? You ready? Hey, hey, hey. So, welcome to day 3. Welcome to day 3. Welcome to day 3. Yesterday we mastered and looked and thought to ourselves, well, how the heck do I build an empire? What is it going to take for me to build an empire? And today, you and I together are going to ask the question, like, well, what does it take? What are the things that I need to have in place? What tools do I use? What I have to sell something? What am I going to sell and offer? The greatest opportunity right now is for you to build an offer, but not just to build an offer, but for you to build a winning offer. Building an offer is so different than just having products to sell. Too many small businesses and entrepreneurs around the world, they are so focused on selling a product, and products are good, but products are not as good as offers. It is the difference between $100K and $500K. It is the difference between $12,000 and $96,000. It is the difference between you being able to head to Ruth Chris or Cheesecake Factory or something that just makes you go, ooh, and you going, you know what, let's eat at home. I want you to be very clear that today, because you have I don't care where you are, I don't care what's happened or what hasn't happened, I don't care what you feel like is happening, I don't care, it doesn't matter. What I do care about is that you acknowledge the fact that today you have opportunity, you have choice, and you have possibility. Really quickly, I'm gonna ask you to put the word possibilities in the chat. Hey Eric, how you doing? So Eric, we're on day 3. We are on day 3. We are on day 3 of an amazing journey. It's how do you leverage and use multi-billion-dollar companies to share your story, help you sell more products and services, and more importantly, build an empire. 19, almost 20 years ago, I was putting my babies to bed hungry. And the truth of the matter is that I was putting my babies to bed hungry, literally asking myself this question, well, how? How do I live a life where I don't have to be at the mercy of every other person? How do I live a life where I get to create my own opportunities? I got so sick and tired of either trying or wanting to die, cussing the people that I felt wronged me, being upset at God, and all things in between. The second that I made a decision to stop thinking small, specifically when it came to my story, that's when everything changed. I don't want you to think that I was like in the right place at the right time. I don't want you to think that I have like a super rich uncle or a wonderful Aunt Sally who came and saved the day and took me in. None of that. And I'm not knocking people who do get that opportunity. I'm just telling you what I didn't have. And the reason why I share what I didn't have, because sometimes people look at me and they're like, well, you built a 7-figure business. Well, you have this and you have that. You have a team. Yeah, for sure. But I'll tell you the truth. I got to $250,000 and $500,000 without any of those things. Then I had to let go of the world as life hands us life cards. And then I did it again. And then I did it again. And sometimes what life calls is for us to acknowledge the opportunities that we have and to stop making excuses. Yesterday, I talked at length about the fact that we get so committed to all the excuses that we can make because we can't, because it's easy. It's easy to make excuses. Oh, well, such and such. Imagine if I were like, well, I can't go and do such and such because I'm black. Now, understand, I'm not making an excuse. And I'm not saying that people who say that are making excuses, but I am saying that the moment that I make a decision to stop putting items and things inside of things that I can't, even though so much of what I have accomplished, yes, I've built a 7-figure business. Yes, I've built a lot of amazing things, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I acknowledge all the time that it takes me 25 steps for some of the people who are right next to me. It only takes them 3. It takes me 8 years to accomplish that, and it takes that person 2. Regardless of how long it takes or doesn't take, what I know is that the end result is that I have to get to the goal. Can you imagine living this life and not actually getting to the goal, whatever it is? Let me tell you what the goal is not. The goal is not you being rooted in money and saying, oh, well, as soon as I get to this place in dollars, everything is going to be great. You can get to that place in dollars and still be 100% empty inside and still wonder to yourself, why the hell am I doing this? Why am I living this life? This life sucks. You could 100% get to the space where you're like, you know what? I have an extra 100K a year, and that's great. But if you have 100 extra K a year, but you don't have yourself intact, as far as Tiffany Largie is concerned, you have just lost. You have just lost. I can't tell you how many people, my peers, that I watch that create these platforms and they're gurus, and then they tell people that the win is inside of the dollars. The win is not inside of the dollars. It is a lie. The win is inside of you having all of yourself. No, this is not a motivational journey. But as I go through the topic on today, as I walk you through today's preview, as I walk you through today's workshop, I want you to be clear, what does it take to get from there to here? I meet people all the time who are much smarter than me, have way more resources than I do. They know a bunch more stuff. And they think that the win isn't rooted in a dollar. They also think that the win is rooted in doing the right thing. The win is not in doing the right thing or the politically correct thing or the visibly acceptable thing. The win is always going to be on you having all of yourself, because that's when you actually win. That's when the money shows up. That's when the right customers show up. And how do you do that? Through your story. Your story is still the greatest asset that you have. Your story is the greatest asset that you have. Your story is the greatest asset that you have. Your story. Because let me tell you something. There is no other Tiffany Largie. I am the only Tiffany Largie. I'm the only Tiffany Largie that has ever been, and I am the only Tiffany Largie that will ever be. Which means if I'm really trying to create something, or I'm trying to present to people, whether it's customers, clients, JV partners, investors, it doesn't matter. The second that I'm trying to do XYZ, the reality for me is that there is no other me. Which means if I'm going to lead the game, if I'm going to rush into the game, if I'm going to dominate, if I'm going to slay the game, I got to go inside with the one thing that the world has never seen before. My story. Your story is the greatest asset you have. I want that to sink in just for a moment. It is the only thing your competition does not have. It is the only thing that your competitors don't have. It's the only thing that allows you to really be unique. Constantly, we're trying to find this magical way of standing out in the world. We're trying to find this magical thing of standing out in the world. And the truth of the matter is that, let me tell you what? We're trying to stand out in the world, and we're like, oh, I'm going to go buy this fly jacket. I'm going to drive this car. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have this painting on my wall. Oh, I'm going to have my nails a certain color. Let me be clear. There are, within 10 miles of our studio, there is at least 20 people who have dope gold hoops. There are many people who are wearing nail polish that's amazing. I am not the only person in the city of Phoenix with red lipstick. None of those things actually make me unique. What makes me unique is my story. What allows you to sell higher price offers and higher price products is your story. There is the idea of how do you get people to buy your products? And yeah, you can get people to buy your products, but let me tell you the truth. Let me sit down for this actually. Let me tell you the truth. You can get people to buy your products and services all day long. But you can get people to rush to buy your products and services if you're simply willing to share or show to the market that you are the most valuable solution in the market. You don't have to have the biggest website. You don't have to have a 30 people team. You don't have to have any of that stuff. You have to have the experience to solve the problem. There are 4 parts to really, truly dominating in the market. And whether you're just getting started or you're saying, you know, Tiffany, I'm trying to get to my first 5K a month. And maybe it's not that. Maybe you're like, you know what, I gotta add another 100K. Not because you want to go on and buy a yacht, and not because you're trying to take more vacations, but because you're solving a real world problem. You're like me. I only started a business because I got tired of putting Jada and Maya to bed hungry. I got tired of trying to figure out where my husband was. I got tired of trying to figure out if he was ever going to come back. I was feeling the weight of the world who kept telling me till forever, oh my gosh, Tiffany, everything would change for you if you just went back to school. Go back to school, Tiffany. Go get a license, Tiffany. Go get a certification, Tiffany. Go do those things. You know what I heard? The only thing that I actually heard was this. The only thing that I actually heard was that the way I was at that moment, the way my life was at that moment wasn't enough. Anyone ever get tired of just feeling like you're not enough? I got sick and tired of feeling like I wasn't enough. I got sick and tired of people telling me that over there, that version of me was gonna be the right version. I got sick and tired of hearing people tell me, Tiffany, the version that doesn't even exist is the best version of you. Why couldn't this version of me be the best? Why couldn't this version of me be the best? Why couldn't this version of me be the thing? Why couldn't this version of me win? I made a decision to stop listening to all of the people who told me, and all of the people in scenarios and church and everything that kept telling me that another version of me that doesn't exist at this moment was the version of me that I needed to become. And I was like, well, damn it, if I don't have that version of me, what the hell am I supposed to do? The version of me that I have right now is this version. The version of me that I have is this version. The resource that I have is this version. Is anybody here? Can you hear me? Can you just put in the chat really quickly if you heard me? Because even today, as I listen to people who try to tell me today in this state, Tiffany, you know, if you such and such and such. I had someone the other day tell me, you know, Tiffany, I know that you're trying to build a bigger company, or I know that you're trying to get around the world. You know, people in other countries will respect you if you go get a degree. And I thought to myself, you're telling me that someone will respect me more if I go and get a degree? That's wrong. I don't need another version of me. I need this version of me. I just need to make this version better. I need to make this version stronger. I need to make this version feel enough on its own without your validation. Let me tell you, moving a product or service is 1,000% about you validating yourself and not waiting to be validated by other people. You don't need to be validated by other people. You don't need to be validated by anybody. You need to be validated by your damn self first. Then you can take that validation to other, then you can take that validation into a product, a service, an offer, the TV, the media. Nothing is harder for me at this level of my game, being behind the scenes with some people and knowing that the person who has just walked before me on stage, the person who is speaking before me on stage, or the person who's speaking after me, that they are a totally different person behind the curtain. That their life is nothing like what they portray. That they actually are not happy, that they don't really live in joy. Before I got to this moment, I spent half of the last 2 hours laughing. But it's a real laugh, not a surface laugh. It is inner joy and peace. It is being in the right place. It is being amongst the right people, not sort of the right people, not people who I'm cool with. The truth of the matter is that I know for a fact that this version of you right now is enough. As you think about moving your products and services, I want you to shift your mind from, man, if I could just sell this offer, if I could just sell this product, if I could just move more of my programs, then everything is going to be great. And that is not the truth. You know what you need to sell? Baby cakes, you need to sell you. You need to just sell yourself. I don't care if you stand in front of a multi-million dollar jet. I don't care if you're selling a couple of books. I don't care what you're selling. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that you master selling yourself. So many people believe that the better they get at presenting the product is what moves the product. I have moved millions and millions of dollars in my lifetime. I've probably moved somewhere north of 50 or 60 million dollars by myself. I have customers and clients. I mean, if I had to add up all of what we've done between our customers and clients in the last, 4 or 5 years of what we've been doing here at DTDT, I'd probably say alone, we've probably moved $20 million. No one's going to tell me about moving a product. I'm going to tell you, yes, you can move a product and you can totally, nail the objections and become the best objection handler and have the right fancy thing to say. But from a person who knocked on 50 doors a day to get to their first 6 figures and then teaching other people how to knock on 50 doors a day with me, that's how I got to my first 7 figures. Nobody's going to tell me how to move a product or service better or faster where you feel whole and the buyer feels good too, more than you selling yourself. Handling objections is great, but having a customer for life is better. Pushing that customer over the edge, getting really good at sales, getting the close, it's really good, but I'm going to tell you, I've sat in that seat and I know how to run that seat very well. But it doesn't always feel good. What feels good is you being the absolute strongest and best version of yourself and you knowing that it's not the product that the person is buying, it's you with the product. Sell 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 you first and then the product. You want to move more units this year. You really, truly want to nail it when it comes to sales and moving your offers and really saying to the world, hey, this is what I do. This is why I'm amazing. This is why you should trust me. It's all rooted in you selling yourself. Let me tell you really quickly, the very first or the very 4 things that everybody is looking for. There are 4 things that the world is looking for. 4 things that the world is looking for. Number 1, the world is looking for you to make it clear. What problem do you solve? Oh, but Tiffany, I don't solve a problem. I'm just a comedian. No, you do solve a problem. Tiffany, I don't solve a problem. I'm a plumber. Tiffany, I don't solve a problem. I am just the treasurer. Tiffany, I don't solve a problem. Yes, you do, damn it. You solve a problem. Get over it. You solve a problem. Everybody solves problems because what is being exchanged for money is a solution to the problem. If you can get that through your mind and allow yourself to understand the truth that you're a solution. You're a solution, and sometimes you're a solution provider. Of course, I could have any plumber come to my house, but I want to have a plumber who gets me. I don't want to have a plumber who belittles me. Yeah, 2 people who solve the problem, but they solve it in 2 different ways. Both of them are highly skilled. Both of them are great plumbers. The better you get at step number 1, making it absolutely clear to the world. What problem do you solve? Really quickly in the chat. What problem do you solve? The number 1 thing I get back whenever I ask this question is, well, Tiffany, I help people to become their best selves. I help people laugh. I help people to such and such and such. Yeah, I'm glad that you help people do X. That's what you do. You do not get paid for what you do. You're not going to get paid dollars for what you do. You're going to get paid bigger dollars and become more valuable to other humans who have the monies if you can make it absolutely clear what problem you solve. What problem do you solve? So after you answer this crazy question, like, what problem do I solve? What problem do I solve? What problem do I solve? You get to tap into something else, and I'm gonna give you kind of a bonus tip right here because this goes into how we help clients or through our story agency brand. and brand themselves and establish themselves and position themselves. Because the better positioned you are and the better branded you are, not just in colors and fonts, but in your words and in your marketing, the more money you can charge. It's answering this question: why does your company exist? Health builds strong immune system is not a problem. No one is going to give you money based on those words. What problem do you solve? Well, Tiffany, how do I find the problem that I solve? I'll tell you right now, it's very simple. Just focus on what pisses you off. What makes you mad? What really angers you? What angers you? What angers you? I prevent people from being homeless and unemployed. That's what you do. Tell me about the problem if you're the problem. I'll tell you right now. I'm going to tell you the problem I'm solving with this. This is one of the companies that we run. I'll tell you something that makes me mad. What makes me mad is knowing that 88% of the people who own small businesses didn't get to 6 figures. That makes me angry. That makes me so mad. And I think what makes me even more mad is knowing that 15 to 20% of those people have a second job just to make ends meet. You know what that makes me mad? Because I can visually see that mom telling her child, listen, I can't afford the field trip. You know, I was in a store the other day. I was in Sprouts, and it was my first time after I got out of the hospital. I wanted to go out, and I decided to go to the grocery store. Go figure. And I'm in the grocery store. I'm in the fruits and vegetables section, and I'm not pushing the cart. I'm simply putting a few things in a bag, and someone else is pushing the cart because I can't push it yet. And as I'm standing there trying to put these red peppers into the bag, I'm listening to a conversation on the other side of the aisle directly in front of me. And a child, this boy must be at least, he's got to be 11 or 12. And he's saying to his mom, blue eyes, blonde hair. And he's like, Mom, or I think it's his mom, the woman he's with, older woman. He's like, can I please I really would like to buy, he wants to buy something in the grocery store. And it's like a snack or some fun kind of item. And he's like, it costs $3. Can I buy it? And the woman keeps turning to him, and I can't remember his name, but she's like, or I won't say his name. I think that's better. And she's like, Jesse, we can't buy it. I know it's only $3, but we don't have the money for it. There's only so much money left on the card, and I have to make sure that we eat. And they're going back and forth. And I'm watching this boy go, but Mom, I've always wanted such and such and such and such. And he's really pleading with her, and she keeps turning to, and I can see the level of defeatness in her eyes as she's like, then she begins to get angry. And she's like, I cannot buy it. Like, I don't have it. And I knew for a fact, because I remember those moments. I saw those moments man, I felt for a moment that was me, because I could see the level of anger in her voice and frustration. Like, I don't have the money, like I don't have it. And as she's talking about a card, I'm not sure if she's talking about a government card or food stamp card or a food credit card. I'm not sure, but that's what it sounded like. And the truth of the matter is that I knew her level of frustration was not at the boy. I knew that her level of frustration was in the situation that was sitting in front of her. That situation left her optionless, where she couldn't provide $3 for the kid to go buy something. And I thought to myself, the truth of the matter is there's 3 things that came to my mind. There is nothing more frustrating than not having choice. There is nothing more frustrating than feeling stuck. And the reality is that I know for a fact that she has a skill, she has a talent, she has something she's learned that she could sell that would help her to make an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a year. They weighed on my mind, and I put the peppers in the bag, and I had to go the other direction because I couldn't hold the bag too long because of my surgery. So I went to find where the cart was. I put it in the cart, and before I know it, I'm like, I'm going to go, and I wanted to go and buy the thing for the kid and give the woman money. But then I said to myself, you know, I'm not going to disrespect her at this moment. And on top of that, I couldn't find her. I was so frustrated when I went home because I remembered the many days that I looked at Jada and Maya and I said, I don't have food. The reason why we produce this is a big reason, not even that there's a big reason. The reason why I'm sitting here in this chair and I've made a decision to teach until God calls me home is because there was a woman during this period of time, specifically when I couldn't feed Jada and Maya. And at the time, my ex-husband was nowhere to be found. He had left us yet again for months. And I was trying to figure it out. And there was this woman that I'm going to find one day. She lived across the hall. And my rent was probably 2 weeks past due. And I didn't have a working car. I didn't have a car. It was just a whole horrible scenario. I couldn't get a job because there was no one. I didn't have anybody to help me watch the kids. I tried to leave them with multiple neighbors. I literally would knock on a door and people who I really didn't know, I'd be like, can you watch Jada and Maya for just 4 or 5 hours? Because there was a Lowe's down the street and I could run there, and I worked at Lowe's. But then it became too much because they changed their shifts. They couldn't watch, and I couldn't leave these 2 small children alone at home by themselves, because then I'd be arrested and go to jail. That's the truth of a single parent at home. So there was this 1 week where I literally felt like I think I probably would have killed myself if I couldn't have figured out, if I could have figured out what to do with Jada and Maya, I think I would have killed myself. The reality is that I couldn't figure it out. I didn't have anybody that I knew that if I left, that they would go to a good place. And I love these kids, so I was like, I cannot do this to them because, you know, who knows what will end up to them, and I just wasn't willing to do that. A woman across the hall, she knocks on my door, and I'll never forget when she says to me, hey, like the hall was inside and closed, so I could leave my door cracked and walk straight into hers just 5 feet away. And I walk inside of her home and she has these boxes, and she's like, you know, she worked at a grocery store. I won't say which one in Florida, but she worked at a grocery store, and she was like, hey, all of the food, the lights and power went out in the food, and their policy was all of the food has to be thrown away when the lights go out for the freezer section. And she was like, I'm gonna go, and she grabbed a bunch of freezer items and put them into a box and risked her job and put them into the trunk of her car and waited until she got home so that she could knock on my door. Here's the truth of the matter. We were not friends. I did not talk to her about what was going on. I don't know if she heard me crying late at night. I don't know if she heard me cussing my life. I don't know if she heard me on the patio pacing. I don't know what it is, but somehow this woman, this wonderful white woman, knocked on my door and said, I brought these for you. Now, here's the truth of the matter. Those 2 boxes did not have all the answers. They probably could last me 2, maybe 3 weeks. But it was her act of kindness and her willingness to see me when I wasn't willing to even acknowledge myself that changed the trajectory of how I thought about what was possible. She gave me a solution to a problem. Though I wasn't buying a product from her, she sold herself in her act of kindness. Your responsibility is to sell yourself. I walk into her house and she's like, I know it's not much, but blah, 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 blah. You can have it. It's for you. She didn't make a big deal of it. And I just was in silence. I remember carrying box number 1 over into my place and thinking to myself, like, I actually cannot believe this. Like, I was in disbelief. Part of me wanted to jump up and down with excitement. The other part of me just, I felt like I was going to break. But it was the human, it was the human sale, was the willingness to transact with me. It was the want to connect with me. It was the ability to see me. And as crazy as this sounds, that's what sales is. I was not going to exchange anything with her. I had nothing to give her in return that moment. But I want you to understand that here I am. Jada's almost 20 years old. Jada must have been 4 when that happened. I still remember it today. It still impacts me today. And the truth of the matter is that the humanity inside of that transaction, I will never forget. When I have something, if she needs something, that sale is already done. She can ask me, that woman can ask me for anything in the world. She needed a kidney, I'm going to give it to her. Do you understand what I'm telling you right now? Human transaction is the most important tool, the most important piece of the game. That act of kindness is no different than your products and services that you sell. She created a ton of value around these boxes and I received it. You create a ton of value around the products and services that is delivered by you. It's the same thing. Oh, but Tiffany, it's not that big of a deal. Well, if you don't think it's that big of a deal, I'm not going to think it's that big of a deal either. If you don't think it's that valuable, if you don't think you're that valuable, I'm not going to think it's that valuable either. If I don't buy your products and services from you, it's your own fault. Because you didn't create the value. 90% of the reason why people don't get through the DTDT door is because when I listen to them, when I hear them, it's because I don't hear that they are clear in their value. It's crazy how willing I am to give people opportunities to sell me things. Probably because I have spent more than 20,000 hours knocking on doors, picking up the phone and calling people. That's how I dug my way out of my life. The life that I didn't want, I dug my own way out because I knew no one was coming to save me. I made a gazillion phone calls. I knocked on a gazillion doors. I was just telling someone the other day, I used to drive 1,000 miles every single week for maybe 4 or 5 years to go and sell stuff. The truth of the matter is that today I am so willing to give people opportunities in ways that most people wouldn't even think of. And I'm never looking for them to be the most skilled because I'm willing to train. I'm willing to accept the B skill 100% if I have an A+ heart. That goes in customers and clients. That goes in team. That goes in vendors. Anybody who's selling to me. They have no idea what I'm evaluating and they think that the goal is to present me the most skilled person that has ever lived. And the goal is really to present me that you are the best thing that has ever been. Because I never forget that until, yes, I may not have had money in my bank account, but I was still platinum. The money in my bank account did not affect who I was. It affected my confidence. Yes, it affected my options. Yes, it affected my limitations. And if I had allowed it to be the backbone of the insecurities I was managing from other people, sure, it might have played a role. But the reality of the situation is that before I made money, before I got to 6 figures, before I got to 7 figures, I was platinum. But here's the thing of it. You can't sort of present that to the market. You have to 1,000% that to the market. You can't sort of believe that. You can't sort of believe that. You can't kind of believe it. And you also can't waver. It is easy for me to go, oh, DTDT is the best. This is where the party is. It is easy for me to say this is the best place for someone to come and plant their dreams, their ideas. The moment someone shows me or lets me know that they don't believe they're the best, I'm out of the game. They don't even know it, but I've already cut them off mentally, emotionally. And they'll be standing right there, but I'm already done. And I'm sure the people who know me close around me, they know me and they watch, and it's very true. The second that I have someone who's like, oh, but I don't really believe in me, or I'm not willing to entertain, I'm out the game. You don't even have to be the most confident. You just have to be willing to believe in you. Sales is nothing more than a transaction of confidence. And then it's giving the other person security that this is the move that you need to make. Every time you open your mouth, you're selling something. Or let me rephrase that. Every time you're opening your mouth, you should be selling something. I don't open my mouth without selling anything. I, Tiffany Largie, do not open my mouth without selling anything. I'm always selling something. I'm always selling the things I believe in. When you hear me say, hey, go follow Matt, I mean it. Because I believe in Matt. When you hear me say, go buy this product, because I'm like, oh no, that's the truth. When you hear me say, you should listen to this, when you hear me say, oh, you should totally let us help you, ... Because I know the outcome of letting us help you do XYZ. Not because we have a great program, but because we actually stay in the trenches with the person until we're actually done. Versus us going, well, that was a 6-month agreement, or that was a 6-month contract, and I know it's been 13 months. You didn't get it all down. I didn't feel that your mind was right in 6 months, so then we don't allow you to end there. Sales. A prospect list, you having a prospect list of the things that you want to sell is essential. You having a prospect list of the things that you want to sell is essential. Let me transfer that into something else. You having a prospect list for your products and services, for the friends you want to make, for the lifestyle you want to live, for the places you want to live, for the partners you want to have, for the rooms you want to be in. Is essential. How the hell do you know where you're going if you don't hold on to a roadmap? You cannot get from California to New York simply by driving around. I cannot get from here in Phoenix to Jamaica without a compass. You cannot get from here to here without a map. I hold on to the same maps today that I had 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 4 years ago. All the time. I wish you could see my office, or you could see my home office, or you could see my home. It's full of roadmaps. And there's only 2 options. Either one, you need to have a roadmap built for you or with you, or you need to be building a roadmap yourself. I have a prospect list for everything that I'm after. I'm baffled when I meet people that don't have a list for the things that they want. Someone asked me the other day, well, Tiffany, if you could just give me more on events. And I'm like, give you what about events? They're nice. I don't know what the hell is this supposed to say. When people come and they come into our rooms, or they get opportunities to engage with us at no cost, low cost, $10,000, $50,000, you're going to get to the plate. Ask me a real question. Have a roadmap, a list of questions. When people get to my space and they don't have a list of questions to ask me and they're just pulling things off the top of their head, I'm so not interested. And more importantly, I really can't help them. Tell me more about events. I like them. I don't know what else to tell you. You didn't give me a roadmap for what you needed or wanted. Half of the problem is the person. Most of the problem is the person. How to control your sales activities. So today, inside of our event, I'm going to be walking you through creating your actual sales activities in a streamlined process. So that way you have a way to open and hold the conversation. You have a way for you to think through what will work, what doesn't work for you, and you can frame your output. Here are the 5 types of prospect lists you should have. 1, people you want to connect with. Friends, people you want to connect with. Like, I need to know that person. I'm dead serious. If you're trying to get into TV and you're like, oh, I need to get into TV, I need to meet that person, awesome, great, prospect list for that. 2, people you want to sell to. 3, people you want to work with. 4, places you want to go. 5, resources that you need and who has them. One of my favorite lessons and reminders of last year was knowing that it's always a matter of who, not what. It's not what you need, it's who do you need. What do you want? When I'm ready, Madison, I will finish the 4 things the world is looking for. I'm not ready yet. I told you, number 1, they're looking for you to be clear on the problem that you solve. The problem is the most important piece of the puzzle. Problem is the most important piece of the puzzle. I haven't seen anyone tell me yet what problem that they solve. That's why I can't move on. If you don't know what problem you solve, well, sweet Jesus, good googly moogly, we're in trouble. Because then you just say, well, this is what I do. If you mess around and you're like, well, this is what I do. Well, there's 30 other people who are doing the same thing. Well, then now you have to walk down a road of saying, well, this is why I'm the best. What is the problem? What is the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem in your industry? What's the problem in your industry? What's the problem that you see? Where do you feel like you fit in? What's the problem over here where you're like, oh, I gotta go fix that? DTDT, I just started seeing so many problems, and I decided in one area, I decided to put them in one roof. I was like, well, I'll let religion, it's only 2 groups that the world is divided into. It's religion and personal development. That's it. Those are the 2 areas that are fooling around with people's dreams, hearts, and emotions. And after spending so many years, dove into the church, selling to the church, growing up in ministry, I said, you know what? I'm going to leave the church for another chapter. In this chapter, I'll come into personal development. Because there are too many people running rampant, stealing people's dreams, monies, and ideas, and leaving them empty and broke and hopeless, and ruining families, and ruining marriages, and ruining the possibility of potential in children, and dragging people through the mud, and then forcing them to believe it's their fault. Nothing frustrates me more, nothing pisses me off more than me listening to a guru, a person on stage who supposedly has the answer, amazing people sitting in the audience. They tell them, this is the 7-figure strategy, this is the winning strategy. And then what they do is they put in front of them all of these ingredients. And so that wonderful human in the program, or the person looking into the audience, they're like, okay, oh my gosh, I see so many things here. And then they're excited. They're like, oh my gosh, this is exciting, because they're looking at a big table. Stay with me. And they're like, okay, well, on this table, there's flour, there's cinnamon over here. There is, oh my gosh, is that baking powder? There's sugar, butter, there's 4 bowls, there's some measuring things, there's a whisk, there's all of these items. There's all of these items on the table. And so the person who was looking at the program, the person who was looking at the guru, the person who was looking at the coach, they're excited because they think that all of the ingredients are here when they are not. So many of those people leave out some of the key ingredients because they want the person to stay sick so that they can continue to pay to enroll people and re-enroll them into a product or service. They don't tell the person that what's missing on that table is the fact that they need 4 eggs. They allude to the fact that there might be other ingredients, but they often don't make it stupidly clear that they actually went and got 4 eggs. They actually don't tell them that they didn't just get regular eggs, that they went to a farm and got these 4 eggs from a person who was growing them in a certain type of a way, and that is why they have this thing that they have created. They leave out some of the things that actually went into making the item. So you know what happens? They have awesome people who are trying to duplicate said cake, said thing, and they can't quite get it right like that. And then what happens is that said guru or said coach, if anyone challenges or says, well, I didn't get the result that you got. Oh, it's because you were in the wrong program. You know what? It's because you really need to go into this other product or program. You know what? If you bought the such and such and such and you put it with the, has anyone ever been there for me? Has anyone ever been there? Has anyone ever been in that seat? And then you're like, oh, well, shit, but I was over here and I've been over here for 12 months. Y'all didn't say anything. Y'all didn't say anything when you took all the money. You didn't even come back and okay, I need to do this thing. Two things happen at that moment. One person gets paid and everybody else gets left behind. I made a decision that I was going to go solve that problem because I started looking at these tables going, what am I seeing here? This is not how you build a 7-figure business. And more importantly, forget the fact that you might have a different strategy. Why don't you just tell the people that you didn't tell them that there are eggs? You need eggs. Not only do you need eggs, you also need baking soda, not baking powder. You included a little bit of baking soda. Why didn't you tell them that you got some very special baking soda? Why didn't you tell them that you grew that fast because you found a way to get such and such to mail for you? Why didn't you tell them that you had some external things that happened that allowed you to have this success? Why didn't you tell them? Why didn't you tell them that you were in the right place at the right time? Why didn't you tell them that you had a leg up? Why didn't you tell them? Oh, I know why you didn't tell them. I know why you didn't tell them, because it wasn't profitable. Got it. They wouldn't have bought the product. They wouldn't have bought the product if you would have told them. They wouldn't have bought the product. They wouldn't have had a need to buy the product. But you need them to buy the product because you need them to buy a product because that's how you continue to win. And a few of the people that you sell to can win, but the other 88%, 70%, two things happen. Number one, you wash your hands and you shrug your shoulders and you say, well, you know, I can't be responsible. I will not accept that. I will never accept that. It is specifically why I decided to create a movement so that I could specifically talk about that problem. I have been talking for 10 minutes about the problem that I solved and what pisses me off. So it makes me so mad, it makes me hot. But the difference between me and most people is that I'm okay by being hated. When you go to sell a product and you talk about what makes you mad, some people should despise you and some people should love you. If you are loved by everybody, then you're doing nothing. A sale and a conversion is a matter of you pulling the person, either pushing them further away or bringing them closer. And every time I open my mouth, I want that to happen. If someone interacts with me and you're neutral and you're like, well, you know, she was kind of such and such, or, you know, she was pretty good, or such and such and such and such, you know, maybe she was, then I have not done my job. I have not done my human job and not done my human responsibility. I have missed out on the most important piece of this entire puzzle. I have missed out on the most important piece of this entire puzzle. If everybody loves me, then I am not effective. In sales, when you open your mouth, your responsibility is to be effective. Not to be strong, not to be loud, not to be bold. It's not even that. You could be super soft in what you say and piss people off. This is my tempo. Does not have to be yours, but the clarity and where you stand has to be clear in all the areas. You cannot talk about what makes you mad. Let me take a step back. Sales and allowing and getting the market to take you seriously. The market, whether it's in your city, in your home, some of you are fooling around in your own families and they don't take you seriously. Some of you are running companies and they don't take you seriously. Some of you are in cities and they don't take you seriously. You're in organizations, you're in non-for-profits, you're sitting on boards and they don't take you seriously. You're in ministry and you're volunteering. You live in usher land. Don't let me get started on usher land this morning. You're living in usher land. People are not taking you seriously and you think it's because you need to do more things when it's not it. You actually just need to be more effective in the stuff that you're doing. So much time is being spent on saying, well, let me just be loved by everybody. Let me be accepted by everybody. Let me make everybody comfortable. When in all truth, what you're doing is you're allowing other people to win and you're not winning. And this is where we say, okay, great. Well, I'm going to keep talking to a ton of people, and I'm going to hope and pray that the people that I really, really nurture and I really, really spend time with and I really, really, then they will eventually buy from me. Who has that kind of time to have 13 meetings about whether or not I'm the right solution? You can only have so many coffee meetings. Every time I hear someone saying, oh, well, I have coffee meetings and I do like 20 virtual, you doing 20 virtual coffee meetings? Well, sweet Jesus. You drinking coffee? First of all, you drinking coffee 20 times a day? What are you doing? And then I'm like 20 coffee meetings that go nowhere. And then both of us just talk to each other. And oh my gosh, if I see anybody who's really a good fit for you, I'm totally going to recommend you. If I hear anybody that's such and such and such, I'm absolutely going to make sure that you have such and such. Yeah, you're going to be the first person to talk about. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that at all. Let me tell you something. I don't have time for that at all. When I meet people, I need them to make a decision about me because I meet people and every card I have is on the table first time you meet me. My fears, my insecurities, my frustrations, my joys, my wins, my truths. All of it is on the table. I have absolutely zero patience for the people in my industry, and I, as an industry leader, need to make it clear where I stand. You want to make more sales, or you want to be more effective, you want to build a stronger arena around you, you take the audience you have right now today, and you make it clear where you stand in all the areas. Everybody could do this before the end of the day. This is how I feel about this. This is how I feel about that. This is how I feel about. This is how you develop a point of view. To sell more products and services higher, faster, bigger, better, you develop a point of view. Really quickly in the chat, POV. This is how you develop your POV. You make it very clear right now at this moment today where you stand on all the things. But Tiffany, I can't say that. I cannot say that. You can. My responsibility, the mission that God has given me is for me to go and find the people who resonate with this story so that I can help them best, so that we can help them best because their story is going to match my story. Not because they're black, not because they're woman, not because they were a single mom. Not even because they have children. I can't tell you how many amazing people inside of our community who do not have children. Has nothing to do with having children. Has nothing to do with being black. Has nothing to do with being woman. Has nothing to do with believing in God. Has nothing to do with you're spiritual and I'm spiritual. I'm from Miami, you're from Miami. I'm from the Caribbean, you're from the Caribbean. Has nothing to do with those things whatsoever. Like not even close. Has nothing to do with those things. The truth is that right now, before the end of the day, you could actually change everything. And you would do it simply by taking a stand on all of the things. In order for me to start selling my products and services, what I started doing is I made out loud what made me mad. And it wasn't about me staying angry. No, it was by being clear, like I'm upset that you're taking advantage of really awesome people. And then I'm going to do something about it. Here is the solution to that problem. I know that you are tired of being overlooked. I know that you're tired of giving money to people who say that they're great, but they are not. They don't hold you to the end. They do nice things for you. They give you nice templates. They give you such and such and such. Yeah, for sure. And I think that's awesome. And I'm not knocking it, but that's not what they told you that they were going to do. You understand what I'm saying? That's not what they said they were going to do. When I say I don't leave anybody behind, I live it. There is not a person anywhere, there is not a person who is around me that could attest differently. Anything that's within my reach or grasp, anything that's within my knowledge base, anything that's within whatever I can see, and I hunt for what I can't see. That's why I ask questions and I keep amazing people near me, so that because they can see things that I can't see. I'm not going to willingly make that move. Number 2, who are you solving the problem for? Your clarity in who is literally everything. Well, Tiffany, I'm just a plumber. Well, then don't be a plumber for everybody. I don't know how else to say that. You don't need to be a plumber for everybody. No, not at all. Who are you solving it for? What type of homes are you going into? Tiffany, I'm just a comedian. You're just a comedian. You don't need to be the comedian for everybody. The way to win in business, the way to win in life, is to go narrow, broad, narrow. Okay? I want you to write down this formula. It's you start narrow, broad, then you can go broad, narrow. That's where you hear people talk about, oh, go into a niche market. That's what that means. Narrow, broad, narrow. Narrow, broad, narrow. Narrow, broad, narrow. That's the formula in business. So like over 2-3 years, maybe 10 years being in business or being in your life, think about it like this. Let me move this formula outside of you living your best life in business. And let me move this to you in life in general. Okay, stay with me for a moment. If you're with me, can you just put with you, Tiffany? Got it, coach. Can you just put the word coach, got it, coach, in the chat so that I know you're with me? I want to make sure you're still here. I want to make sure I'm not talking to myself, because it's very easily that I'm talking to myself. Very easily. And I'm okay with that. Because when I turn off this camera, I'm going to be saying the same things with the cameras off. I promise you. When I'm with one person, I'm going to be running my mouth the same way with the cameras off. This is not a show. This is not a performance. Clarity in who you're solving the problem for is everything. It's everything. It's everything. You're not meant for the whole world, and you don't need to be in front of the whole world. You need to go find your people, but you have to sift through the people who are in front of you to get to the 2-3 people that you need. You can't get to the 2-3 people that you need unless you get in front of the world. But then when you get in front of the world, you got to be able to get a machete. It's like cutting the wheat so you can get the path straight to the golden tree. Think of the golden tree as the people that are waiting for you. So what happens is that when you're very clear about the problem that you solve and who you're solving it for, okay, who you're solving it for, what you do is you walk into a room, you walk into an audience, and you say, hello, I am here to solve the problem for these people. That is AKA going, I am looking for the people who understand this. This is the importance of having your 3 sentences and your story in front of you like this. Because you have your story in front of you, and you know what happened? It becomes the machete for you. It sifts through the people for you. And some people are like, oh, I can't. There are some people who are listening to me right now. They're like, why does she talk so loud? I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. There are some times where people hit reply on emails and then they're like, Tiffany, you spelled the word there wrong. And I'm like, thank you so much. You were just unsubscribed. If you're focused on my flaws, if you're focused on things that really don't matter in the context of me trying to help, then we'll never understand each other, because I'm so imperfect and I get so many things wrong, and I'm sometimes very politically incorrect, and sometimes I say things that are exactly how I feel. If you can't handle me in this aspect, you'll never be able to handle me there. Let's just out of the way, so that way you and I are on the same page. Makes sense? I want to be honest with you about who I am, not because I want to be X, Y, or Z. It's just actually who I am. And if you can love me who I am, then you can be with me as I grow and get stronger. There are people who've been in our community who've watched me grow over this period of chapter, these almost 10 years. We're almost 8 years. And I'm so fortunate because they've allowed me the grace to grow and become better. Who you're solving the problem for is just as important as why do you solve the problem and what problem are you solving. Number 3, why are you solving that problem? Why do you want to solve it? What is the reason? What is the reason that you're solving that problem? What is the reason? Why are you solving that problem? The reason should be selfish. I'm going to let that sit in. I'm going to wait. Some of you weren't ready for what I just did. That's a little bit of the hood coming out of me. I'm sorry. It should be selfish and then include other people. Why do you want to solve the problem? Oh, because I want to help people in the world. No. That's second. That's third. Why are you doing this? I'm very transparent when I tell people I do so much of this for myself. I cannot hug people through a computer. It's why we do a lot of live experiences. Why do we have programs like Strong when we could be selling XYZ? We do sell those things as well, but we have this because I said I wasn't going to leave anybody behind, and I'm not going to get to those damn gates and then be like, Tiffany, you knew that you could have created something to help more people, and you chose not to because it wasn't profitable. No, I'm not going to do that. I said I was going to take care of everybody. I'm going to have a home for the whole world. It is why we produce free things, so that we know for a fact that we have served the people who can't afford to spend $57 and for the people who can't afford to spend $50,000. Yes, that allows me to go to bed in good conscience, to know that I'm doing all of the things 360 selfishly. That is the transparency of why I do XYZ. The second, number two, is because I know what it's like to go, I don't have $57. My account has been negative for 2 weeks. And they're about to close my account. I know what it's like to be thinking to yourself, man, I really wish I could afford to spend $4,000, but that like, unless I go hang out on the corner, that's just not going to happen. And I'm from Miami. That's not far-fetched. Making money, what problem are you solving? Who do you solve this problem for? Why do you solve it? Number 4. What gives you the right? What gives you the right to solve the problem? What gives you the right to solve the problem? What gives you the right to solve the problem? This is called your quantifiable results. 10 reasons why. So I want you to duplicate this on a piece of paper for yourself and hold it, and I want you to tape that shit to a wall. Tape it to a wall. Tape it to a wall. What gives you the right? Number 1. So I'll tell you really quickly, what gives us the right here at DTDT to teach anybody any of the things that we teach. Number 1, our team has a combined over 50 years experience of being on stage in front of millions of people, physically on stage. Number 1. Number 2, we have generated 7 figures simply by mastering how to tell our story. Number 3, our clients have made, we probably have, and I don't have the exact number, but I know we've added more than $20 million to the economy by simply being open as a company. Number 4, we have touched hundreds of thousands of lives that have never paid us $1. Number 5, we have fed, I can't tell you how many homeless people in the woods and people in need simply with the dollars that we've collected. Number 6, we probably give and donate somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 in services that I cannot write off. I want everyone to hear that one, that I don't write off. They are not tax deductible. Number 7, because we are clear on our guarantee. We're always going to do the right thing, even if it hurts. Number 8, I myself have been on over 300 stages, and I'm a paid keynote speaker. Companies like Dell Corporation hire me to speak to their employees, not entrepreneurs. Number 9, we have probably produced somewhere over 200 of our own events by ourselves with our own stuff and material. And number 10, because we run a real business. We have a brick and mortar office. We are not hiding inside of a bedroom. We publish our phone numbers, and I'm very proud of that. We publish our addresses, and we allow people to find us if it's possible, if they need to. And I'm making that transparency because so many businesses die in the first year. They die in the first 2 years. They don't open. So many people during the pandemic, so many of my peers had to close their doors. They couldn't keep it open. Could not keep it open. Forget all of the quantifiable wins I have from the past, right? For the person who's like, oh, but Tiffany, that was back then. Okay, well, great. We're 8 years here. And I'm very proud of that. Not only did we survive, but we have thrived and we have grown. Has everything been perfect? Absolutely not. Have we had to learn? For sure. But here's the truth of the matter. I'm still Black and I'm still a woman. And as bananas as that sounds, according to all of the numbers and statistics, we shouldn't be here anymore. I'm crazy proud of that. What are your quantifiable results? What are 10 reasons why you are the best solution in the market? What are 10 reasons why we should choose you? What are 10 reasons why we should choose you and not entertain anybody or anything else? Your quantifiable results are the things that you should talk about and stand strong. They're the things that you should talk about, not all 10 at once. Well, actually, you could 10 at once, but you can talk about 1 over here, 2 over there. I just decided yesterday that I'm going to open an entire beta program around speaking and producing events for a handful of people. What gives me the right? Why should anyone take advantage of it? 100%, because we produce our own events. And in the beginning, I produced all of them myself. Workshops, masterclass, one-day events, webinars, you name it. Fast forward, where's the quantifiable result? We've produced X amount of events and we leave with 6 figures when we produce them. Let me move away from business. Quantifiable, I'll do 5. In my life, why should anyone trust anything that I have to say about getting to the next level or living your best life or building a life that you love or building something that will last or just coming here to be better, becoming stronger? Number 1, I experience love and laughter every day in my life. Number 2, I have 5 people in my life that if I needed would lend me $10,000 and not ask me what it's for. Number 3, all 3 of my children consider me their best friend, and my oldest daughter is 20. And for women and parents out there who are struggling with their kids because of this, that, and the third, I have all of the above. The kid that's not doing great in school, I have the such and such and such, but all 3 of my kids choose me first. Number 4, I've built a team of people around me who care about me beyond their ability to collect a paycheck or beyond their ability to collect a dollar. And number 5, I know, let's see, let me give you something that you could see a totally different direction. Number 5 quantifiable result. I was able to let go of every person that I knew in my life, family included, and rebuild myself a new family that I chose and that I enjoy and desire and want to be with and around. 5 quantifiable results. Really quickly, I want to make sure that you're with me and that we're on the same page. I want to make sure that we're on the same page. Okay. Can you please give me one word to describe where you are right now? One word. My one word is one word to describe where you are right now. One word to describe where you are right now. Okay, this is good. So, let me tell you what comes next. We head into an entire day of workshopping and being in front of the right methods to sell your products and services, the right method of establishing yourself on social media, establishing yourself in your local arena, and then more importantly, how do you develop a sales process to win? Couple of things. If you are watching this on a replay, I say I welcome you to join us at DTDTnation.com. It's so easy to head to find our events and see what we're doing next, and to dial in. The second thing I'm going to say is that if you need help, just reach out. Send us an email, hello@tiffanylargie.com, tiffany@tiffanylargie.com. My phone number where you can text me is 305-677-8178. Couple of other things. You can connect with Ryan at 480-269-1355. That for sure is an easy way for you to get on his radar. And then more importantly, I want you to take a deep breath and to ask yourself this question. Okay, great. When it comes to my sales, when it comes to me moving a product, when it comes to me and my confidence, what is my biggest gap? My number one goal today is that we breathe in and out your biggest gap, and we find the solutions to help you move forward, because the objective is to keep moving forward. I don't care how young or old you are. It doesn't matter. If you're alive, you still have time, plenty of it. If you're watching this and you're like, I don't even know who you people are and how I stumbled on here, and you're like, Tiffany, you're missing a chain. You need to have 2 or 3 chains for the words you just used. Here's what I'm going to say. I want you to please make sure you join us at DTDTevent.com. It is $1 for you to be a part of this experience for the rest of the day. We have an entire day in a private room that you get to hang out with us in. And if you have an interest in coming out into VIP, we would love to see you there. VIP is only $47. So really quickly, if you are ready, can you please put the word ready, ready, ready in the chat? Ready, ready, ready in the chat. Okay, so we're going to take a deep breath together. We're going to take a whole break. We're going to take a break. I can't wait to see. So in the chat, thank you for your comments. I would like you to do one thing further. I cannot reply to you in the chat. So I'm going to ask you to head to the comments. Is it possible for you to head to the comments of this stream? And I'd love for you to leave me your thoughts, your action, what you're going to do next, what questions you have, so that I can actually reply to you. YouTube doesn't allow me to go back and connect with you in the chat. So if you could head to the comments, you would be my BFF, because I really want to talk to you. I want to be able to reply. I want to be able to ask you questions, and heading to the comments part of this is going to allow me to do so. Okay. So dun, 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 dun. I would love to know what impacted you the most? What do you want to see next happen? What questions do you have? How can we serve you most? And I also want to know, did everybody see that Anna allowed me to get access to these shirts? So somewhere here is going to be a link that we're going to email or something to you that's going to have your ability to get one of these that we have in inventory. I think they're like $20, $25, and you get the bracelet. They're free shipping. So exciting. All right. Well, I love you. I love you. I love you. I will see you in the private Zoom room. Please make sure to head to your email. We will give you a little bit of time to get there. We've got a packed day, so you want to race and race fast. I'm so honored that I have the luxury of spending this time with you. I am grateful that you and me are connected and dialed in together, and I want to hear from you. I'm not joking. I read every single message. Send them to me. Send me an email at tiffany@tiffanylargie.com. Send me a message through text at 305-677-8178. I want to hear from you. I want to know what's going on and how we can serve you. And even though you may not get a reply from me, just know that I have read it and it is what allows me to keep going, and more importantly, for me to get stronger so that we together as DTDT Nation can really go help more people. We're determined to get around the world, and I need your help. I'll see you. I love you. Bye.
Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have it douse, not what I'm about, have your f***ing cloud, it be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 Anything negative, cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big box, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase it, face it. I don't give up quick, I don't give up shit, I won't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I'm on it, I'll make it, I promise. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you